Hey, gun people, let's talk about one or two conspiracy is getting used more and more frequently, and so I was out there shooting a couple guns, sighting them in, getting them worked on. So conspiracy is one of those charges that is very flexible. So to understand what a conspiracy, and hell, we probably participate in a conspiracy every day and probably don't even know it. So a conspiracy is when two or more people, so it can be 2, 3, 5, a whole classroom, a whole group, a whole gang, a whole, high school graduating class. Anytime 2 or more people conspire, which means to talk, discuss, plan, organize, furtherance of the crime, any discussion about a crime, once 2 or more people do that, the conspiracy is halfway there. You have a conspiracy just almost by talking about it. Not enough to prosecute, so me and you could be talking, be like, you know what, that freaking, somebody needs to take out the president of Kentucky Fried Chicken. Yeah, you know what I want to say. So me and you were talking, and we're like, you know what? That Colonel Sanders, he's a piece of shit. Chickens are my friends. Somebody needs to take him out. Okay. So now we're going to have to define what takeout is. Do we mean take him out to dinner, or do we mean kill him, etc.? So part of this conspiracy is already done. Now our conversation goes further and says, you know what? If somebody could just let the oil out of one of the engines on his plane when he's flying somewhere, plane would crash and he'd be dead. Our problems would be over. Now we really got the conspiracy first part done. Here's where people get caught up in conspiracies and actually commit the crime, can be charged, prosecuted, and go to jail, even though they did absolutely nothing than what we just did. Because once the discussion happens, and you're part of it there within earshot, you understand it, you don't object, you don't exclude yourself at that point and say, I want nothing to do, I'm out of this, I don't want to hear. Unless you do that, and you're in this group, if there's 3 or 4 of us at a table playing poker, drinking a beer, whatever, you set yourself up to be charged with conspiracy and convicted, even though you do nothing else. Because the second part of a conspiracy is one person, one of the co-conspirators, has to make an overt act in the furtherance of the conspiracy. Don't have to do the conspiracy, don't have to do anything. And I talk about this real briefly in another video, but they're charging all these guys that were at the Oregon standoff and at the Bundy Ranch. They're charging them all with conspiracy. And I think they're going to get a conviction. Because conspiracy is one of those charges that is just, it's a meat and potato. When you ain't got nothing else, if you ever sit on a jury and conspiracy is the main charge, they're reaching. They ain't got nothing else. Okay, if I got you for murder, I'm charging you with murder. I'm not charging you with conspiracy to commit murder. So, conspiracy is 2 or more people conspiring to commit a crime. The second part is one of those parties has to complete one overt act in the furtherance of that crime, and everybody's guilty of the crime. So you're sitting in a classroom and your instructor or your professor is up there talking, and he's like, today the thing is going to be, how would we kill the president if we wanted to? And one person goes, well, I would take down his plane. Another guy goes, well, I would poison his food. Or another guy would go, I'd be a lone wolf and attack him with a knife. Or another guy would be like, well, why don't we hire Al-Qaeda and have them do it with an IED? And so we're having all this discussion on how to kill the president, even though it's hypothetical, even though we're not really planning on doing it. And one of the classmates goes out and tries to hire Al-Qaeda on a website that's run by the FBI and says, hey, how much would you charge to help us set up an IED to blow up the president? Everyone is guilty of conspiracy to murder the president. So, is that not a catch-all charge? Is that not a great... The reason why government loves that charge is because it's easy to prove. There's only two elements. Two or more people conspire. One of them doesn't overact. So, you can almost classify a whole gang if the gang is in, hey, we're all in a gang, and we're like, you know what, those damn Crips, because we're the Bloods, those damn Crips are processing me, and somebody needs to just freaking send them a message and make sure they know not to cross paths. One guy does something to one Crip, everybody who was at that meeting is guilty of conspiracy to whatever crime they committed. So, now obviously it gets a little bit more technical. There's going to be some law student here coming, well, you need to connect to the nexus of the facts. And look, it's pretty freaking simple to get it. Conspiracy is a catch-all charge. So if you're in a group, or if you're in a situation, and people start discussing a crime, and it comes out that you were there during the discussion and you didn't object, get yourself... And the problem with a conspiracy is... Here's another part. And when they taught us this in the academy, or when you were going through... I've only worked a couple conspiracy cases, but when you're going through, picking the jury and what you say on the stand and getting our story together. I say our story, I mean... The prosecution, the cops, everybody gets together and witnesses, okay, you're going to say this, right? They're not telling you to lie, they're just making sure you only say the part they want to use. Which is, I don't know, technically probably is a lie, but... So, when you're doing a conspiracy thing and you're getting everything together, they tell you, the problem is, three of us are talking, and just off the wall somebody goes, man, somebody needs to take out the president. And the guy goes, yeah, that shit'll never happen. Yeah, I know. So three of you there, and you leave. You can't opt out of that conspiracy before a guy goes and does something. So let's say you all leave and you start thinking about it and you're like, man, I kind of just committed part of conspiracy. If one of those knuckleheads do something now, I'm going to be guilty and charged with conspiracy. Well, I want to opt out. I want to say, tough luck. If this guy already is in, if the act of the crime is in motion, the overt act has been committed. Let's say you didn't know somebody's doing something. You find out one of them went and bought a gun and said, okay, man, we're going to give this gun to somebody to kill the president because we were talking about that. You already committed conspiracy. You can't go now, oh man, I didn't know you were buying a gun. I wasn't serious. I don't want no part of this. Too late. You're now either convicted of conspiracy or you're cutting a plea deal to testify against the other knuckleheads for conspiracy. Because you can't opt out once that overt act is done. And the overt act is simple. I mean, we're looking at a map. And we're like, all right, how are we going to get to the White House here? You know it's covered. And one guy goes, well, you could do overt act. We're done. Conspiracy. The overt act is as soon as I start moving this map, looking at a map, making a route, done. So conspiracy is a very, very tricky charge, and that's the way the government is going to stop free speech. They're going to stop groups from communicating. They're going to stop any discussion against the government, because when you discuss something against the government and something happens in that group and they can tie it to everybody, the government's going to come crashing down on everybody and use conspiracy charge. So you're going to see more and more conspiracy as time goes on, because the government is learning how to use this hammer. Remember, if you see every problem as a nail and your only tool is a hammer, you're just going to bang on it. So the government is a hammer and they see every freaking problem as a nail. So when they start realizing that we can take out masses or groups or multiple people, even though we just caught one person, all we need to do is get everybody we catch to somehow say who was there when they discussed or even mentioned this, and we'll charge them all with conspiracy. And again, the government, when they start charging you with crimes, even though it's a bullshit crime, even though you win, you're tied up, you can't go to work, they may put you in jail, you're going to have to pay bail, you're going to have to pay for a lawyer. If you represent yourself, you're still going to have to do research, you're going to pay for copying, you're going to pay for legal aid, you're going to pay for you're going to pay out the butt. So the government already has a huge hand to say, we're going to smash you. And I I think conspiracy is going to be the charge of the next few years. You're going to see more and more people charged with conspiracy. And if you don't understand how easy it is to get caught up in that charge, you may start believing, wow, man, he's charged with conspiracy to commit murder. He's charged with conspiracy. And that's why, you watch my video and you hit like, and I'm talking about we need to revolt. We need to go against our government and attack the buildings. And you hit like on my video. I foresee in the future that's going to be a conspiracy, although the first part is 2 or more people conspire. So they're going to have a little bit of a problem with the first part. But the overt act of you liking could complete a conspiracy. If we got in a chat room and we're all talking about committing a crime, and a couple people go, yeah, that's true, yeah, and they agree, and they hit like, or they forward the email, or they do, we've got overt acts there to further the conspiracy. Forwarding an email is an overt act. Calling someone, texting someone, hitting like has a code or inference or internal message meaning go ahead with the plan. All those things are going to become overt acts, and it's very easy to get caught up in a conspiracy charge. So I just kind of want to discuss it, kind of give everybody a little bit broader definition, so when you hear the term, I mean, a lot of people hear it and kind of think, yeah, they planned it, they carried it out, they were all working together. One guy out of 10 does something, and all 10 of you are guilty of conspiracy. And conspiracy, even though it's a misdemeanor, is another great catch-all. Conspiracy to commit a misdemeanor is a felony. It's more of a crime to talk about it and do nothing than it is to actually do the crime. Because a theft is a misdemeanor. But if we talk about a theft, and you know what, I'm going to go over here and I'm going to ask the lady for help, and as soon as she helps me, when she turns it back, you can take that candy bar. Even though that's a misdemeanor, it's now a felony because we conspired. And we did do that a few times when we had people working, with drop bags. They'll go in, or drop box. They got a box with a frost bottom. They're in there searching. They're looking at clothes and stuff, and all of a sudden they take a piece of clothes and they shove it in the bottom of the box. The box flap, it closes, so it looks like it's a box, and it looks like they're carrying it around, so nobody's really thinking they're going to put anything in it because it looks like it's all sealed. Well, it's not. It's got a false bottom. Or, or they bring in a bag from the store. I go to Home Depot. When I buy something, they give me a bag. I put that bag in my pocket. I go in the store. I open that bag up, throw a few things in there. I still got the old receipt. It's stapled to it. And as I walk out, I show them the bag and the receipt. Well, that's called planning, and that's burglary, because now I can prove that you entered with the intent to steal, and that's burglary versus petty theft. However, with conspiracy, I mean, it's gonna, I just see with this digital age and the out-of-control government and the way government is manipulating the law and not going with the spirit and intent of the law, they're going with how can we use it to slam people that go against us, that talk against us, that are not just following the rules and paying their taxes and shutting the hell up and letting us do what we want to do. So I think that's a future crime, conspiracy. Only time will tell, and in a few years we'll figure out if I was right or if I was just talking out my butt. All right? We'll end that there.